Welcome to Africa Premium News, your front row seat to Africa's power, progress, and truth. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and turn on the bell, because here, you don't just watch the news, you witness history unfold. Locals call it the sleeping giant. This is the story of the billion-dollar volcano and how Africa's hidden minerals could change the world. It begins in the heart of the Great Rift, a scar that stretches from the Red Sea down to Mozambique, splitting Africa like a slow-motion earthquake. For millions of years, molten rock has pushed upward, carrying with it rich veins of lithium, cobalt, tantalum, nickel, and graphite, the elements that power the modern world. They're the foundation of every smartphone, every electric car, every satellite, and every future technology built to replace oil. But few know that the center of this revolution lies here, not in Silicon Valley, not in Beijing, but beneath African soil. In the shadows of Mount Nyiragongo in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the earth glows red at night. A volcano famous for its bubbling lava lake, but even more valuable for what it hides below. Geologists have found deposits of rare minerals so concentrated they call them Earth's batteries. From cobalt to tantalum, these materials are essential for rechargeable energy storage, the key to the global green revolution. Yet, for decades, these riches have been extracted and exported with little benefit to those who live above them. The story of African minerals is one of paradox, unimaginable wealth buried beneath poverty. But that story is changing. Across the continent, nations are awakening to a new vision, one that keeps the value of their minerals at home. In Zimbabwe, the discovery of vast lithium reserves has ignited what many call Africa's white gold rush. Lithium is the lifeblood of electric vehicle batteries, and Zimbabwe now ranks among the world's top producers. Chinese, European, and local companies race to build processing plants near the mines, a shift from raw export to industrial transformation. In Namibia, engineers are exploring graphite deposits that rival those in China. Graphite is crucial for anodes in lithium-ion batteries. The government has passed new laws requiring local processing, ensuring that Namibian graphite powers the world, but also powers Namibia's own growth. And then there's Rwanda, often overlooked in the mineral race, quietly becoming a global leader in tantalum, the rare metal that makes electronics smaller and faster. Rwandan scientists are pioneering ethical mining programs, using blockchain tracking to prove that every gram is conflict-free. This new wave of innovation isn't just about extraction, it's about transformation. For the first time in modern history, Africa is building its own chain of value, from mine to market, from rock to battery. At the center of it all is a project few outside the continent have heard of, the African Battery Initiative. Its goal, to create a pan-African manufacturing corridor for electric vehicle batteries. Led by Zambia and the DRC, two countries that once competed for copper dominance, they've joined forces to process their cobalt and lithium together. They're reconstructing Africa's first regional battery assembly line, a move that could rewrite the rules of global trade. Because here's the truth, the world cannot electrify without Africa. Every major green technology, from Teslas to solar farms, depends on the minerals buried under African soil. Yet, until recently, these resources flowed out of the continent raw, cheap, and unprocessed, enriching others. But a quiet revolution is spreading. African engineers, scientists, and entrepreneurs are rewriting the script. In Kenya, startups are using geothermal energy from volcanic vents to power mineral smelting plants. Clean energy refining, a world first. In Nigeria, a new generation of chemical engineers is developing lithium-ion recycling labs to reduce waste and keep materials in circulation. And in Ghana, a government-backed initiative trains youth to manage drone surveys and AI-powered exploration, mapping untapped reserves with precision never before possible. All of it traces back to the billion-dollar volcano, the idea that Africa's geological heart could power a sustainable, independent future. But there's a darker side to this race for minerals, a story of geopolitics, competition, and control. As demand for critical minerals explodes, superpowers are repositioning. China already dominates 70% of the world's cobalt refining, much of it sourced from Congo. The United States, realizing its dependence, has launched new partnerships across Africa to secure supply lines. Europe has rolled out the Global Gateway, a trillion-dollar investment plan to rival China's Belt and Road, with Africa's minerals at its center. Beneath these alliances lies a simple truth. Whoever controls Africa's minerals controls the future of green technology. For Africa, that power comes with risk and opportunity. Governments must balance sovereignty with partnership, local benefit with global demand. Corruption, environmental damage, and exploitation remain dangers. But transparency movements are growing stronger. From the extractive industries transparency initiative to citizen watchdog groups, a new culture of accountability is emerging. Meanwhile, deep inside the volcano fields of Tanzania, scientists are making discoveries that could change everything. They've found new types of geothermal brines rich in lithium, a cleaner, more sustainable way to extract the metal without open-pit mining. Instead of destroying land, they harvest minerals from liquid heat. It's innovation born from necessity, and it's happening in Africa first. In Ethiopia, volcanic regions near the Afar Triangle are being studied for hydrogen-rich vents, natural sources of renewable fuel that could make Africa a global hydrogen hub. And in Kenya's Menengai crater, geothermal power plants now supply 40% of the nation's electricity, clean, reliable, and generated directly from the Earth's molten heart. These are not isolated projects. Together, they represent a continental awakening, the realization that Africa's volcanic past could power its technological future. But the story of the billion-dollar volcano is also human. It's about the miners, engineers, and dreamers transforming molten earth into modern power. In Congo's Katanga province, young geologists risked their lives mapping new seams of cobalt using drones. In Zambia, welders and mechanics rebuild old copper plants into modern battery hubs. In Rwanda, data scientists model global demand curves to predict where Africa's advantage will peak. And across the diaspora, African scientists in universities from Cape Town to Toronto are returning home to build research labs and startups that no longer export talent, but create it. They see what few others do, that Africa is not merely rich in resources, it is rich in renewal. From the volcano fields of East Africa to the mineral belts of the South, a new narrative is rising, one of ownership, innovation, and pride. The continent that powered the Industrial Revolution through colonial extraction now stands ready to power the renewable revolution on its own terms. Imagine the future: African-built batteries powering African-made vehicles on African-built roads. Solar panels made in Africa lighting African cities. Smart grids run by local engineers. Exports not of raw ore, but of finished energy products competing on the global stage. That's the promise of the billion-dollar volcano. Not just wealth, but transformation. The challenge now is scale. Financing remains thin, and global investors still see Africa through outdated lenses. But that perception is changing. In 2024, the African Development Bank announced the Green Minerals Fund, a $1 billion pool dedicated to local refining. The World Bank and IMF, once critics of state-led development, now fund Africa's green transition. Private capital is following, driven by necessity. The world cannot decarbonize without Africa. From Elon Musk's Tesla to Europe's Renault, automakers are signing direct supply deals with African governments, skipping middlemen. What was once a one-way trade of raw minerals is becoming a partnership of equals. And beneath it all, the volcano keeps burning, silent, ancient, alive. A reminder that everything we build, every machine we create, begins in the Earth's deep furnace. When the world looks to Africa, it must no longer see a continent of extraction, but of creation. The billion-dollar volcano isn't just under Africa. It is Africa, dynamic, untamed, and full of potential energy waiting to erupt. And when it does, it won't just light up the continent. It will light up the world.